With Savitri, we can practice the teaching of Vladislav. If you remember the teaching of Vladislav, it's about direction and poise and stability. This is not text as such. This is sound-directed invocation. And it is other than narrative and story. And until we realize that it is other than narrative and story, it is not very useful. Because we know how to read and think already. But Savitri is something else. Savitri is a goddess, an energy, a being, a new consciousness. The silence in the noise of earthly things. An intimation of the world's delight. The gift of a revealing hour. These are epithets that are used in this text to describe her. So the passage I would like to read is among the most elevated. And when we begin with an unbelievable elevation, and then we go to the most elevated, this is something extraordinary. And it's not text. It is a consciousness that is already there for us, if we choose it. These things are within reach of the human in its ascent. It is not myth. But it has a terrible tendency to drag, we have a terrible tendency to drag it into myth because of those structures that have emerged throughout human history. And that mythical structure is always pulling us down. And that rational structure is always pulling us down. Because these are already evolved levels of consciousness. But Savitri is that new one that is breaking through. You know, she comes to break the iron law. The power that entails is unimaginable by the mind. On a meeting line of hazardous extremes, the game of games was played to its breaking point. Where, through self-finding by divine self-loss, there leaps out unity's supreme delight. On a meeting line of hazardous extremes, the game of games was played to its breaking point, where, through self-finding by divine self-loss, there leaps out unity's supreme delight, whose blissful, undivided sweetness feels a communality of the Absolute. There was no sob of suffering anywhere. Experience ran from point to point of joy. Bliss was the pure, undying truth of things. All nature was a conscious front of God. A wisdom worked in all, self-moved, self-sure, a plenitude of illimitable light, an authenticity of intuitive truth, a glory and passion of creative force, infallible, leaping from eternity. The moment's thought inspired the passing act. A word, a laughter sprang from silence's breast. A rhythm of beauty in the calm of space. A knowledge in the fathomless heart of time. All turn to all without reserves recoil. a single ecstasy without a break. Love was a close and thrilled identity. In the throbbing heart of all that luminous life, a universal vision that unifies, a sympathy of nerve replying to nerve, hearing that listens to thought's inner sound and follows the rhythmic meanings of the heart, a touch that needs not hands to feel, to clasp. Were there the native means of consciousness? A touch that needs not hands to feel, to clasp. Were there the native means of consciousness, and heightened the intimacy of soul with soul. A grand orchestra of spiritual powers, a diapason of soul interchange, harmonized a oneness deep, immeasurable. In these new worlds projected, he became a portion of the universal gaze, a station of the all-inhabiting light, a ripple on a single sea of peace. His mind answered to countless communing minds. His words were syllables of the cosmos's speech. His life a field of the vast cosmic stir. He felt the footsteps of a million wills moving in unison to a single goal. A stream ever newborn that never dies, caught in its thousandfold current's ravishing flow, with eddies of immortal sweetness thrilled, he bore, coiling through the members as they passed, calm movements of interminable light, the bliss of a myriad myriads who are one. A stream ever newborn that never dies, caught in its thousandfold current's ravishing flow, with eddies of immortal sweetness thrilled, he bore, coiling through his members as they passed, calm movements of interminable delight, the bliss of a myriad myriads who are one.